Hey guys, it's Ross and welcome to 6 News. So today we have the mid-season designers notes. So of course we're not having a mid-season reinforcements this year. Instead, they're going to be doing more balancing, but none of the major overhauls we usually see with mid-season reinforcements. That instead will come at the beginning of the new season. So this is to let us know what they're thinking. So this is basically the developers letting us know and giving us some data as well. So they're actually going to be hosting an AMA, and this will happen like not long after my video goes live. So if you want to actually go and ask these guys questions and find out what's going on, then you can go and do that. But like I say, that'll be just after I upload this. So let's start with the attackers. This is their new graphics, which they gave us a little peek at with the beginning of the last season. And what it's got is the overpicked 2 strong operators, the overpicked 2 weak operators, the underpicked 2 weak operators, the underpicked 2 strong operators, and you can see the win delta and the pick rate. This is how they decided, and this is only coming from ranked PC, Platinum, and Diamond. So it's not coming from any lower ranks, not even coming from consoles. So this gives them a really good indication of how these operators are being used at the high end. And as you can see, Lion currently is doing very well with Ash there too, and Twitch. So there might be changes, of course, to these operators. So this gives the devs a really good way to see how the operators are being picked, how many games are winning with them and stuff like that, and can obviously then change how they think the balance should be for those operators. Let's move on to defenders now as well. So again, we have exactly the same setup, and to me this is very interesting. We have Vigil right here, and a lot of people when he first came out thought he was going to be a really bad operator. He's actually doing really well. He's actually kind of been, since Ella got nerfed, he's actually kind of taken over Ella's position, which is kind of crazy. But of course you can see Castle and Chichanka down here, unfortunately. So hopefully they'll, at least Castle might get a mid-season reinforcements perhaps. Of course that will be at the beginning of the season. Don't know what I'm going to call that now. Early season reinforcements, I guess. But anyway, moving on to what they are doing. So all these changes are kind of alongside these graphs. So they've looked at these graphs and they've gone and seen who needs a bit of a fix. And this is what they're planning to do. So some of these we've already seen. So the Lion one is pretty much exactly as the technical tester was not long ago. So their data indicates that Lion is currently too strong. He is close to 100% pick rate in Pro League, and his win delta is too high in ranked as well. We also have feedback that he's not fun to play against as well, so they're looking to kind of balance him out. So what they're doing is that if you get detected, but then you stop, you will no longer get detected, which is really good. And if you're detected only briefly, it will be much more difficult to actually figure out where you are. I'm guessing that means rather than being a perfect red outline, maybe it'll be far more fuzzier, maybe it'll be more of a general location until you're located for longer. So again, that's going to help you be hidden from him. And he's also going to go down from 3 charges of his scan to 2, and the cooldown is going to go from 10 to 20. So it should balance Lion out quite a bit. And we'll see how that goes. It's a decent nerf to him. Now Jaeger's actually getting a buff, although it's indirect. So Jaeger's Magpies will no longer destroy Hibana's pellets, which is great because Hibana's pellets has got 6 shots in total. So if you actually fire them over in the range of all 3 of Jaeger's active defense systems, the actual pellets will all get destroyed and will just waste his active defense systems. So that will no longer be the case, and this is actually to nerf Hibana because she's too much of a pick because she's got so much utility. She's such a good operator. She's one of my favorite characters in the game. So they're going to be doing this to nerf her, but also gives a little bit of a buff to Jaeger. And they're also going to be continuing to tweak Blitz. So they know that Blitz is a frustrating enemy to face. So what they're going to be doing is they're just going to reduce his shield flash range from 8 meters to 5 meters. And I know that in game, it sucks already, really, the range of that flash. So that really is like 5 meters is bloody close. So yeah, going to be interesting to see how that works out for him. He will also have fewer charges from 5 to 4 as well. And they say that, you know, the year 3 season 1 change for Blitz did bring him back to a closer average kind of pick rate, but his win delta is too high. And of course, that's from the Diamond and Platinum games. So he's just a little bit too good. Now this, I think, is awesome. So Vigil, everyone thought he was going to be rubbish when he first came out. I said, I think he's going to actually be really good if he's used correctly. And apparently that's the case, because they're nerfing him quite considerably. So his ability will now deplete in 12 seconds rather than 30. That's more than half the time gone, which is crazy. But it will refill in half the time. So rather than 12 seconds, it'll refill in 6 seconds. So it's just, you know, just a bit of a higher skill curve to use him, which I think is great. And they say following the nerf to Ella, Vigil has risen to the top of the pack and has become one of the strongest roamers in the game. So he's actually replaced Ella, which I think is pretty impressive for him to have done. But they do say we plan to keep an eye on him. And they hint here, right here, weapons in particular. So he might be getting a weapon nerf in the future. So we'll have to wait and see. I already think his weapons aren't too great, but the fact he does have 2 fully automatic weapons is a really good utility for him. So we'll see what they're going to do with him. I'm curious. Now, Habana. Poor Habana. She's losing her claymores and getting breaching charges. I love playing Habana with claymores, so that sucks for me, but I'll live with it. So she's picked far too often in pro and ranked play, and yeah, she's become this critical utility to attackers. So yeah, she's getting a bit of a nerf to kind of try and bring her down to more of the Thermite level, because Thermite they think is still pretty good. So Thermite is going to become the only hard breacher with a claymore, and we expect to swap. And we expect this swap will rebalance their popularity. There may be more changes in the future, but we will keep an eye on the impact this utility change has. So, interesting. Big kind of change to Habana. They've been trying for a while to get her under control. They nerfed her sidearm not long ago. So, they are trying to kind of figure out how to use her and kind of bring Thermite back up. So, pretty cool. I'm going to start playing Thermite definitely more, so we'll see how that goes. Ying, interestingly. We are swapping out Ying's smoke grenades for claymores. So the Glaz and Ying combo in the Pro League is no longer going to be happening so much anyway. And she's currently too strong in highly organized groups and too weak in high-level ranked matches. This change, coupled with the LMG changes, will make her a more balanced choice in both contexts. On to the LMG damage. So, this is definitely interesting. Yeah, globally, LMGs are too weak right now. Interesting that this change is coming along just as we're going to be getting a defender who has an LMG next season. So, we made a pass to their damage and normalization. It against their generally low rate of fire. We will also review their recoil once we have implemented the new recoil system. So, yeah, changes to LMGs. We'll have to see how this plays out, and it could make them much more viable than they were before. So, we're just going to have to see. Definitely some interesting changes. You can see that everywhere generally they're going to be getting a little bit more damage, and that should make them much more useful. So, let's see. Now we're on to the current status. And this is basically going over other operators that they haven't quite changed, or they haven't quite figured out how they're going to change it, but they plan to. So Finka is a little bit too good at the moment. They're going to be looking at her recoil reduction, the speed boost through barbed wire, and the health boost. So expect nerfs. Ella is no longer looking to be nerfed. Ella is currently in a much better place. The data indicates that she has an acceptable pick rate and win rate. We do not foresee any more changes being necessary in the short term, but we'll keep an eye on her. So she's pretty much escaping any other nerfs. So where she is probably where she's going to stay for now. Now they talk also about unique operator gadgets. Our team learned a lot from our test servers iterations on blitzes charges. One of our key takeaways being clarification on priorities. When an operator's core gameplay varies, your typical siege gunplay is pretty difficult to handle balance-wise, with shield operators and glads being the best examples. We will keep trying to make each operator a viable choice. This is the whole idea of this, of having this dedicated balance team that the developers now have, is they want to make every operator they can be somewhat viable. Now we'll see if that actually is the case, because they're going to have to do something with Tachanka and Castle to really show that they can actually do this. So we'll see if they can. But we recognize that this cannot be done at the cost of players' enjoyment. So that's always going to be something that the game should be fun to play. So we'll see how this is going to play out. If we see that increasing an operator's pick rate will keep their current mechanics is frustrating, we will look for other ways to make changes. There we go. So again, they have a AMA on Reddit, and that'll be happening very much after you watch this video. If you watch it any days after that, obviously the AMA is finished, but you can also go to this blog post, click on that link here, and you can go check it out. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and I've got a couple of little statistics that I'll put on screen now that devs released a couple of days ago, and thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you next time.